Alright, welcome back. So, we're going to do a little bit more of refactoring, and this time what we're going to do is we're going to move it out. Now, you guys might get a little bit confused, but this is C++, and what I did with this was I removed in the C++, we removed the detection, and we removed the, detection, and we removed the gun, and we made it into a separate class, and then we just used it on our main AI, which made it a lot easier, right? And we're gonna do the same thing with the C#, or with the version that you guys are comfortable with. So last time we left off, we had the navigation maker that we put it as an internal class, and we kept it on the side. Then we also had the path maker, which we moved it into an inline AI, and then we also made one more, and I called it the AI detector. And from here I'm going to put all the detection logic that we have. So one is the dodge logic, and the other one is in the update, where we do the whole calculation and checking if it's inside the frustum or not. So we're going to be doing that, putting it inside this AI detector, and the next thing we're going to do is actually just right click on AI, we add another class, and this one we're going to call it the shoot class. Now, if you guys are smarter than me, which I know most of you are, what you could be doing is going into the gun handler and refactoring this to make it so that we don't have to do the gun stuff twice. Rather, we just have to do it once. And it's very easy to think about it because we could just change HUD maker and everything, but I'm gonna be lazy, and well, not lazy, but I'm gonna be inefficient, and I'm going to make another class, call it shoot, or we should just call it AI shoot. Alright, and that is what we're gonna do, and then we're just gonna move things from here to here, here to here, and make it a bit smaller. So I will see you in just a few seconds. Alright, so now that we're back, we got everything moved into this class, and we also managed to put it the shoot in this class. So what we did was, if we go back up here, is we just moved a few things, and we also created another class called frustum settings, which we got the field of view aspect ratio near and the far, so we don't have to write it over and over again. And then after that, our AI detector having all of our basically the stuff we had here, we just move it around, and then we have a constructor which basically connects everything. We got the callback here, so we have that dodge area callback, so this whole thing is right here. I just wrote it a bit more cleaner so I can understand what I'm writing, and if anyone else happens to see the code, they can understand what the heavens I'm talking about. Alright, then we got the calculate view, and we got target inside view. I believe that's about everything we need for calculations, right? Because what this does is it gives us a bool, and then we can be right here, right? So that gives us that boolean that we're looking for, and then we can just do this and basically do the rest of the code, right? Alright, and then for shoot, we basically just took this whole thing and we moved it in here, where we got calculate and then visualize in terms of seconds. Normally we put it as 2, so we're just going to put it as 2. And then we got shoot with the speed, which is our speed right here. And then it's going to do its whole calculations and everything. Alright, so let's actually clean this up. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do the detector first. And for detector, we need to move a few things out. So the first thing, before we even touch any of this, we have the AI detector here, detection, and we got the navigation mesh here. So we're going to first delete dodge area because we don't need it, so we can just automatically delete these two. And over here we're just going to write our little function. And another thing we're not going to need is all this stuff, so we can just delete it, and slowly, as we clean it up, yeah, we'll see the changes. So I'll change this to IL. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the AI detection. So detection, new AI detector, and then it's going to ask. As you can see, there's a red line because we need to add everything in it. So the first thing we're going to add is a new custom settings, and we're going to add our settings inside here. And since I did not make a constructor here, what we're going to do is we are just going to Alright, with that, we can just delete the viewing distance, since we're going to be using it. So, we can delete that. And then we're going to have to go over here. So the first thing it needs is, that's right, I have no idea what it's asking for. It's asking for custom settings, so we're just going to say settings. Fingers are very slippery today. So we're gonna give it settings. Then the next thing we're gonna give is main object, which is going to be our node. And then the next thing is gonna ask for target, which is main character. Then the next thing is gonna ask is detection position. We're gonna use node get child number 0. Then it's going to ask for physical trigger node, which is going to be physical trigger node, and then enemy mask, which was, I believe, 4. And if I look carefully, enemy mask is definitely, no, this is update. Enemy mask is in dodge area, where if we do attack ourselves, right, where are we? Yep, right here, 4. So we got that all set up, and then we will do the shoot after that. But first, what we're going to do is we're not even going to add the callback because it does it for us, right? So we can just delete this whole thing and it's gone. Next is for our, what do we call, calculate view. This is basically this, just written a bit more, what do we call, clean, I guess. And then we could just do detection calculate view, right? And then for this, that follows inside the calculate view. And then after that, we're going to do this. So instead of writing this whole thing, what we could do is we could say, let's just do this, detection dot target inside view. I should have called it is target inside view. Nah, whatever, the name's not that much. Alright, the mask is 1 as we have it here, and then the target name is main character dot get or name. Alright, so that checks if our character is inside our view. Target's name, that, and that gets us that. And then after that, it will give us this part, which is right here. So now it will give us that return value. So if it is true, we're going to do all of this. Now here's the viewing distance. I might as well just keep it. And then just reference it right here since. Alright, so with that, we basically cleaned up most of our code, right? Because now we just have this, and we have this, and then our distance ratio is mostly for inside here, which we're gonna finally clean up later on. But as you can see, we have basically cleaned up or made it look a lot more visible, and now we can actually change a few things without really ruining everything. So that whole line of code plus the what do we call the dodge area callback is now all handled inside this internal class, so we don't have to worry too much about it. So I'm just going to leave it to the side and then go to the shoot. Now shoot has its own constructor and it's right here. So we're going to do the exact same thing with our shoot. So we're going to have AI shoot and I'm going to call it shooter. Okay, because it's the thing that shoots. And then just create the constructor. Whoops. Alright, and inside here we're going to do the int damage. The damage is going to be 1. Bullet prefab, we're just going to say bullet prefab. Target would be main character. Gunpoint would be node.getChild number 0. Now the reason why we say node.getChild is, as you remember, it's the eyes that, or the front of the character, or like, you know, the eyes itself is where the shot will come out of, right? And let's just change the color so, you know, we aren't worried about it. There you go. Easier enough to see, and that's where the bullet will come out from. Okay, so with all that done, what we're gonna do is inside our shoot, let's do some of this stuff. So the first things first is the calculate position. So that's all this stuff. Now we do need the speed because we're gonna put it in this shoot. So what we're gonna do is right here, shooter dot calculate positions. Then we're gonna say shooter dot visualize prediction, right? And then it's gonna ask us for how many seconds. We put 2 because that's what we have here. So that cleans up everything. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna delete all of this. So now we have speed, which is our character.getSpeed. And then from there, what we're gonna do is shooter dot shoot speed. All right, so essentially we have basically cleaned up this whole thing without making it look too complicated, right? And then I can just remove all this stuff. And now just reading it alone, it's very clear to understand the refactored part of our code. We understand what it's talking about. We're gonna refactor this alongside our AI state, but before we do that, I believe that is the end of this video. I am going to finalize refactoring the AI so it only does one thing, and that is connecting things for the other classes, so like a composition based. So this is what we call composition based, where we have like objects inside this. What we could do is we could put this somewhere else and we could call it into this, but for now we're just being a little lazy and we just have the objects here, and then we could just connect it into our objects, and then from there we just instantiate it in init, and then from there we just call them wherever we want. Alright, so with that, I'm gonna leave you guys there. The next thing we're gonna do is actually put the navigation maker and the path maker inside here, initialize it, and then run it and see if it works, and also to check if there are any errors with the way we code it. Alright, with that, I will leave you there, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, goodbye.